Hi, my name is Clark Bossert. I'm running for the United States Congress right here in Nevada District 3, and I want to thank you for taking the time to visit my website because listen, it's your job to have an informed vote, and it's my job to make that as easy as possible for you. That's why I've taken the time to personally write every single word on my website so you'll know exactly who I am and what I stand for, because I believe that just being honest and transparent is what serves people best. Listen, more than being a Republican, I'm a husband and I'm a father, but I'm also a constitutional conservative Christian candidate. And just like many of you, I love our country a ton, but I honestly feel like we're losing it. And that's a big reason why I've jumped into this race. Some of my backstory is that I'm from Southern California. I went to school at Liberty University in Virginia, and I was a business major for my undergrad when I was there. And there was a seminary professor that spoke in one of my classes, and he said, listen, we're planting a church in Las Vegas, and we have an internship on D Street in Washington on the historic West Side in the 8th worst neighborhood in America. And we're going to be doing anti-sex trafficking, homeless outreach, and foster care ministry. And at that point, I was a Christian, and I felt like God was saying, you ought to go. So I actually moved out just to see the cycle of poverty and brokenness in our city changed. But the more that I gave some of the best years of my life to this work, I really realized that all of these things are policy problems that we need to solve from the top down. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved in government. And so when I graduated, my guilty pleasure thought was I want to move to Las Vegas, I want to get a regular job and just continue serving with every free bit of time that I've had. And so that's what my wife and I did. Lindsay was an ICU nurse at Centennial Hills Hospital. And then I was the UNLV budget coordinator for student affairs, working in a central finance role for a VP. And then later I was the machine shop manager for science and engineering, working on the research admin faculty side. But when I was there, UNLV, it's so woke and it's so radically far left that I saw that we were selling young people brokenness wholesale, and it was totally destroying their lives. And then at the same time, since the start of the Biden administration, we've seen our country turn into a total woketopia hellhole. And these are two of the reasons that kind of catalyzed me to say, man, I can't sit on the sidelines for another election cycle. I really believe with all my heart that the proper function of government is just to preserve your God-given rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's it. I don't need to tell you what hat to wear. I just need to make sure that your stuff's not getting taken, your life's not getting taken, and nobody else's freedom, quote, freedom, is encroaching on yours. But in this last season, we've seen the government function well beyond the scope and the purview of what they're even allowed to speak to. Case in point being what you put in your body, how you raise your kids, where you go to church. These are things that are beyond the jurisdiction of what the government is even allowed to address. So listen, we've got to push back and fight for the defense of our civil liberties and our God-given rights. That's a big issue that I'm running on. Secondly, our economy. It's in really bad shape and it's getting worse. And I've got a lot of hope for our country, but it's going to take everyone at the top and the bottom and the middle to turn this thing around. But listen, the government, rather than reducing their spending, they've stolen your purchasing power. This is why everything is 20% more expensive. And we really need to send a fighter to Congress that's going to have vision, principle, and conviction, that's going to hold the line and fight for the next generation's financial freedom, because we really need to turn this situation around. Economic mobility was really huge for me in my life personally, because I didn't have the opportunity to continue high school after my freshman year. So I tested out, and then I started working, digging ditches for $6 an hour. And then I managed a restaurant for 2 years, and then I got a welding degree. And from there, I got a scholarship to attend university in Virginia. But I've been very blue collar, I've been very white collar. I was a welder, I was a machinist, I was a construction worker, and central finance, and doing other things. So I've been all over the place, but listen, the opportunities that I had coming up are not going to exist for a huge amount of folks that are trying to come up now, and that's a big problem. The slogan that I've come up with for the campaign, it's restoring the foundations, but it's also fighting for our future. So the foundation of our country, it's obviously our founding documents, it's our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, but it's also our public trust in our institutions. And so through a living interpretation of the Constitution and revisionist history, we're getting gutted of the context of who we are as Americans. And then, thirdly, government has a relationship with the people that it governs, and that requires trust. And through a dishonest COVID narrative and the Federal Reserve saying that they have tools to address inflation when they don't have any, and then the total dereliction of duty by the Biden administration at our southern border, they've totally lost our trust, and it's their job to earn it back. And I'm certainly not the be-all, end-all solution to this problem, but I would love to be the part that I can be. Here's what I'll say is that right now, unfortunately, if you live in Nevada District 3, you don't have real representation, and you're totally devoid of any opportunity to enact substantive reform. That's a big problem. If you want something changed, you're not going to get it from Susie Lee, and it's been my perception that you're not going to get it from our current field of Republican primary candidates. So listen, in the fight for freedom, I'm never going to back down, and I'm never going to sell out. I really want to represent Nevada District 3, and I would appreciate your support. And more than that, please inform your vote, vote your preference in the primary, and vote June 14th. Also, please read over the website, and then if there's anything that matters to you that I haven't already spoken to, then please feel free to give me a call. There's a number right there at the bottom of the website, and please give me a call. I'm happy to give you a straight answer about anything that's on your mind. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to inform your vote. And then, again, my name is Clark, just like Clark County. So just think, who's the guy named after the county? So Clark Bossert, running for Congress right here in Nevada District 3. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and God bless America.